Welcome to Abyss Prologue, Episode 3. Nah, I'm kidding, that's a joke. It's a deck profile of Epsilon, aka the alien guy from Episode, well, I'm sorry, Prologue 1 of Abyss.
Avatar, like, ooh, say something. Ooh.
Something.
Look at this.
So that's how it's done. I don't know if that was like animated or something like that, but
been knowing that I've been
effect.
The Dragonverse
Neat.
So much. I've been releasing already the 2 episodes of my show.
What are you talking about? Technically, there are no episodes of Abyss out yet.
Prologue episodes explaining the.
You have negative episodes up. You owe episodes.
They're going to be important later on, but that's besides the point, right? Episode 1's the next one. But
where's the new episode?
It's the deck profiles of those characters, right? Because I've been seeing Samuel doing the.
Everyone else is doing it, so I might as well too.
Dookie doing, I'm pretty sure, his deck profile.
Ever heard of that old expression? Just like, just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean you have to.
Make the ones from
But then again, making deck profiles can be fun. I don't blame you.
In the future. So for now, I'm gonna be doing 3 deck profiles. Of course, they're gonna be all separate, right?
Yep.
Doing this one now, that is Epsilon.
He has 2 of them out at the moment. The one I'm watching and one for Hot Wings.
In Prologue 1. Yeah, the one that took over Jeffrey Winston's body. So do keep that in mind. And
if you want to watch it on your own time, link the channel description.
It's Dogmatica for like the part of the archetype. But the other part of
hey, this is baloney. I can read these cards.
To the opponent or give a monster to the opponent. So cards like Dogmatica.
My favorite Dragon Warrior, Ken. He's just Ken. Anything less, he'd be a 10.
Dogmatica Matrix, when activated, it has a Dogmatica ritual monster, ritual spell from deck to hand.
The hell's a ritual?
If your opponent controls a monster, which is usually what we're doing with this deck, it gets us another Dogmatica card. So we're getting 2 cards for the price of 1.
Yay!
And we're going with the monsters that give themselves or give a monster to the opponent very soon. So for now, let's just go in order here. I tried to make this as a.
Let's begin at the beginning, and when we get to the end, stop.
On bits and bits of the deck. So the Dogmatica engine is just the heart and soul of the deck. It's like.
It's Dogmatica.
That's
the end.
That's the deck that he plays pretty much. It's pretty nice, you know. Like Ecclesia, very good card. Is like the heart and soul of your deck. You just want to get into
the entire reason the entire reason the Albez lore exists because she didn't kill Albez right there and then the moment he landed. If she had done that, there wouldn't be a story.
That works for.
Gotta give her credit for that.
So, like you could technically cut it, but since we're doing character decks, I might as well put it in. You can float into Ecclesia. Ecclesia can search other stuff, so it's alright. And also, it's a free summon in some cases, so I think that's alright. Ashion is also a very nice one too. You can work on turn 0 in technicality to a point that you could like use him and Fleur de Lis to negate, but that's very niche. The one thing that he's here for is that he's recyclable. Like we can recycle things. We can recycle Albazoa. You can recycle any other Dogmatica card and just reuse it again, which is very nice. He's just cool, like a one-of, a good enough one-of, honestly.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Maximus is another one that is decently important.
A pain in my butt.
Dogmatica Matrix, because
it gets rid of my extra deck. I like my extra deck. I'm playing Salads. We need those extra copies, because otherwise. Our monsters aren't vanilla beat sticks, but they might as well be.
If you draw Maximus, it feels kind of bad. So you just play 1. 1 Fleur de Lis, you can play 2. I prefer 1 because you don't need more than 1, honestly.
Annoying.
You don't have space for other stuff.
If you're attacking, summon this guy and make your monster stronger. Annoying.
Also very interesting. Quem, you usually summon up Lula Waylif that you summon.
The unofficial Ghost Girl. Kind of reminds me of one. I don't know. I just look at that and I think Ghost Girl. Is it just me? It's probably just me.
When Guggenheim can send something like a Malong to like bounce something, which is
hi Tom.
Pretty good. Very nice. And then we have the rituals. Albazoa, the big bad of the deck. Like really, usually gonna want to make this turn 1. Like you
the main ace.
Albazoa
of Dogmatica.
There are the rituals. Like if I already have Albazoa, great. But and then you make the others. But usually that's like your go-to guy.
His name is Albazoa.
Stuff unaffected by extra deck monsters. just
They were cooking with the Dogmatica
good
lore.
card.
They burnt it a little, but they cooked overall.
White Knight of Dogmatica, I never summoned this in like any testing or any sort, but it's an okay card. Like he can do something, and also
he can do something.
So I didn't see the reason on not cutting it. Like he can.
I would use that next time. I might want to show off my deck profile. It can do something.
But in a character deck, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
White Relic can help you.
Or these are not meta. These are for fun and good for scripting.
Albazo's on the field. You have like 4K and 45.
Nurse Dragon made call. She wants her outfit back.
And they also protect your Dogmatica monsters from being destroyed by battle, right? Your level 8 or higher Dogmatica monsters you control can be destroyed by battle, which means Albazoa gets more protection out of this.
Oh,
which is very
I would
nice.
never remember.
Dogmatica Nation. It's not something I play in like a real Dogmatica deck, or no one I think does. But it's cool for this. Like it has some sort of protection for Dogmaticas, and if it dies, it rips a card from the extra deck. So I think that's okay. Like from your own extra deck, okay? It doesn't rip from the opponent.
Look, like the thumbnail said in the original video deck profile, your extra deck. Give it to me!
Another card is just filler, you know, just a character deck, just gonna put some stuff in. This gives more attack, so you can make...
Dogmatica Schism. Man, I can't...
Not that bad.
I thought Rescue Ace was pushing it, but they got schisms in here. Great.
Go-to ritual spell, because that's the one that sends Luluela from the extra
Dogmatic
deck, so
Calamity. They were...
to summon your Albazoa, so that... Something to keep
They were having fun with some of these names.
Macabre is also a very good follow-up card because it can revive stuff like Albazoa, but it can also like summon stuff like the White Relic or the White Knight.
Yep.
It's a very decent card. It's a quote-unquote monster reborn, I guess.
Essentially.
Dogmatica Matrix. This card is nuts. Just literally, you add 1, and then if your opponent has a monster, add 2. Like how I already explained. That's the reason we're playing the deck this way. Well, at least for Abyss, anyway. I don't know if it would be that good for competitive, because I did try the deck and it's not that crazy. Now, Dear Servant. So this card is also Office of Ecclesia. It's a going second card. Like, this card is
You were talking about like how some are in there for character deck duels. This is absolutely the opposite of that. This is a staple of all the decks.
Too much, but he actually does. Like it can.
It's not that I hate the cards. I'm just sick of looking at it.
That card is so good.
You're making me sick of the artwork.
Fusion Deployment. That works usually with Cartesia.
Like emergency call. I'm sick of the letter E.
Fusion Deployment, summon Cartesia, and then fuse it to Vergugnol at some point, which is nice. Usually I would also play Albas, but I'm not playing Albas in this deck because there's gonna be a reason for it that you guys gonna see.
Lore. Once we get out of the prologue arc.
Yeah. This one is the ritual on the opponent's turn. It could be interesting, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I do like how the Dogmatica hate the extra deck, so they just focus on rituals. It's a pretty neat thing.
White Relic and have like a big guy.
One of my favorite things is in a server with role plays. There was a dude who played Dogmatica and focused on taking out people's extra decks. And I had Vendreads. We only got one extra deck monster. We are your kryptonite. And then Dogmatica got more cards where they don't care about the rituals anymore. It's like, damn it! I was your kryptonite! Yeah, but then we got more cards and you didn't. Damn it!
Get it out of the search, or get it back, and do our stuff. And we have space for other stuff as well.
Yeah, Dogmatica punishment is good, especially when you got Outer Entity Natis, which you do.
Summoner Monk is just another way into Ecclesia. We have a quite selection of spells, so Summoner Monk could be discarding a spell to summon Ecclesia from the deck and get the Dogmatica Matrix into your hand, which is pretty nice, honestly. Nothing to say about it. It's just pretty good. DD Guide is one of the monsters that we decided to choose as well for the give your opponent a monster. We have a.
I thought it was because it kind of looked like him when he arrived in the place. You know, character deck reasons.
For you to like give them a kaiju for anyway. So DD Guide is definitely one of them. It's just decent. Like you just give it to the opponent, do your stuff, and then each player's end phase is your opponent.
DD guy, I remember her a little bit of a funny story with Duel Links. So I left Duel Links for a while and came back, and there was a DD guide event going on. So I'm like, okay, like, what is any of this stuff? Hey, I'll look more into it tomorrow. Tomorrow, the event was over. I'm like, what the hell was that? And DD guide never came back. So it was literally, what happened?
Serious manner. I was playing 3 Gen 1 Ken, and then I would be like, Gen summons Ken to the opponent's field, and then draw to discard 1, and then that I could also use Dogmatica Matrix. And that was like what made me build this deck this way. Because I would give it to the opponent, the Matrix at 2. And then those have extra effects too. For example, this is basically an Angel Baton, if you guys know stuff from the 5D's anime.
Mm-hmm.
Or
which is Graceful Charity, but a speed spell, more or less.
From the opponent's hand, right? Like, or the player that controls again, right? In this case. This case is usually your opponent, in this case. And then they lose a card. And you're gonna get more cards, so just very nice. Cyber Wabi is also interesting. It has some other weird applications, like your hand size become 3, which it's very irrelevant for a deck like this. But the biggest relevance this card has is that it just summons to the opponent's field. And it's
love
a
its
special
name
summon,
in the
so
art.
that's why I
Silent
like
Wabi.
to
The heck is a
I
Wabi?
do like Wabi just for this reason. Like the fact you can just give it to the opponent like for free, and then just normal summon and cleaver is just
right. Here's a monster.
To be honest, gaining 2,000 life points could sorta matter. Draw 1 card does suck, but yeah, I think that's okay. Rhoda is just
getting life points doesn't really matter, but you might stand and do a little longer.
Search them with Rhoda. The other part of this deck, so I mentioned
double summon. 2 Ecclesias.
To give it to the opponent and then like do your Dogmatica plays like with Matrix, for example. But there's a third part of this, because as you can see, we are very heavy on normal summons, right? Like we have like 3 Gen, 3 Ken, 3 DD guide. With the only special summons are being like
called a DDD guide. Whoops.
From the action deck.
Hang out with Spooky too much, are we now, Alan?
And some other aspects as well. So I decided to make another concession in the deck and add double summon and ultimate offerings. So those 2 cards, they basically let you have extra summons.
More normal summons.
To a degree.
Flounderies love these things.
Give them to the opponent, use one of those cards, normal Ecclesia, bam. It does the same thing. There's times you won't need any of these. Do keep that in mind, okay? But when you do, you do. Now I'm going for the consistency cards. Small World, Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is just, by all means, 3 extra copies of every other card in the deck, because it's so easy to like get something out of it. Like you're usually gonna get a piece like that you need, or when you don't, you get something else, which it's very nice.
Yeah, I just wish that once you mill 6, you could add 2 cards to your hand. Because I feel like at that point, just pick 3, just because you're gonna get pick 1 anyway.
Is just like the most versatile card in the game.
I prefer duality, but that's me. Personal preference.
Right?
I don't think prosperity is an egg 5. I just don't like it.
So usually we protect Albazoa, protect other stuff from it. From monsters that are not from the extra deck.
I have like almost never seen this thing summon legitimately.
Monster Rebirth, they kind of run together. Rebirth usually.
I kind of wish Rebirth was Spell Card Monster Reborn, but that would have been. But that name is also kind of complicated. You mean the Spell Card Monster Reborn? No, I mean Spell Card Monster Reborn.
Monster Reborn. That card is still fine, so I think that's okay. And Droplet because he plays.
Because it's droplets.
That's literally because I scripted for him.
Yeah.
That card, so it's there.
It's in the script.
Alter Entity Entes.
For Dogmatica Punishment.
Basically became a Dogmatica staple at this point.
It's a Dogmatica card to me. It just has a little type that calls an Elder Entity.
Definitely use this card. Like and this deck is no different. Like this deck is rip the extra, send stuff from the extra to the graveyard. The deck, so
pretty much
does what it does. Wagon, it's similar to.
You don't have Fossil Fusion,
degree, but it pops spell and traps, I feel it's okay. Like, you could play the
True.
other one. It's,
True.
What was the name again? It's Fossil Warrior Skull Knight. Yeah, that does for pop monsters. If you think like monster, it's more monster heavy. Like, you could replace it. But I think Wagon is cool for that.
Sometimes you need that back row removal
Garura,
too.
also
You don't see
very
Wagon
nice,
very often
if it's sent to the
as well.
graveyard, you draw one card. There's several ways
Neat.
to trigger it.
Punishment being one of
in
them.
The deck itself, like Dark Matrix and Your Servant and many others. And there is also Bucephalus. Since we're talking about Garura, might as well talk about
Dang.
it. Means
Oh, that's a
that,
link 5.
you have a 3500 Garura to use for punishment, and the attack points on your monsters in the extra deck matter a lot, because it means that you have a limit on what you can out with punishment. And with this, it just adds more. Like, so now the cap is what, 3,500? Yeah, because like all the monsters are like very small than 35. So the cap is 35. You could even play like something like Five-Headed Dragon or Dragon Master Knight or Dragon Mega Master, right? Because
now you're showing off.
Like, there's nothing that is beyond 5,000.
Yet.
Like an original attack print. Like, you have stuff like Armatile, but its original attack is 0. So
Yeah, its original attack is 0. Its attack becomes
yeah,
10,000.
That's something also to consider. Green Guggenol is
That's
very
how you get
nice.
around
Like,
that.
it pairs well with Cartesia.
Got cool art. I'll give it
like
that.
I said, Malong to out. And on your own turn, you could send stuff like Lulu Waylif to set up some plays. I think it's a decent card. Speaking of Lulu Waylif, this card is amazing. Like, just send this for free.
It's kind of weird how Despia got a Synchro. They're a fusion archetype, but here's a Synchro. Okay. I'm sure there's a lore reason for this. So that I. Now that Alba's lore is finished, it's so easy to find out what the lore is, and then I just keep forgetting it.
So that's pretty nice.
Like, I know the general things, but then there's parts where we're just like, okay, and then this happened, and then this happened, and.
Mainly Great Guggenol, I think. I think that's like the strongest fit that Great Guggenol has, because it turns Great Guggenol into an interaction. So do keep that in mind. Herald of Arclight. We're playing a ritual deck, so you gotta play those.
Naturally.
Send them to the grave, and then they start shepherds.
Herald of Arclight. Never summon
And
it.
usually
Only
you don't
mill
send
it.
with
Like
Maximus,
extra
'cause,
foolish
you
burial.
don't send with Nadir, nor
Or
with
Geodogra.
because their attack is too low. Like, if you send them with punishment, the maximum you can search is White Relic. Yeah, White Relic or White Knight. Meanwhile, this will only mean you'll pop anything that is 600 or less, which is not that many. Like, playing a deck that is just filled with...
Use it against you, Bell. It'd be funny.
That's never going to come up. And then again, there's also better cards to send with punishment in that year. So this usually you send with
Like
Maximus,
this.
so you can have an extra ritual spell or ritual monster just to complete something.
Mm-hmm.
Omega is also very nice, although, yes, like I said, most of those
It's not being
cards
summoned
don't
very often.
relate,
It's just there for
but
showing off, I guess.
they all have good graveyard effects.
Remember Gary
Omega can
Relative?
disrupt the graveyard.
That was
You
part of
can
the movie.
Go shuffle Omega, shuffle something back into the deck, and then like we can just keep doing this as long as we can keep sending Omega, we can keep shuffling like their graveyard resources back into the deck, so they won't have those resources to play. To keep that in mind. Also, very good card. I remember when I was playing a more serious version of Dogmatica,
I used it in a Shiranui deck just to keep putting my
and
stuff
I've been
back.
shuffling like engravers over and over. It's just so funny.
Yeah, when you're on the
Aggregator is-
receiving end.
Most people already know this card, right? Like, especially now that it rised up with Rizio.
Yep.
It's just a nice
Cool artwork.
overall, right? Like, it negates something. And, yeah, like every time it's sent to the grave, it negates something. That's very nice. Like, you can pair it well with Punishment, too. Because you can go Punishment, pop something, and the Aggregator effect negates something else. So, it deals with 2 cards at the same time. I think that's pretty cool. Now,
I
the
agree.
only 2 cards, like, actually, the only 4 cards, like, this is, like, the 4 cards you ever make. But we already talked about
Yeah,
Rengoku.
right.
So, the last 3 cards that we make is Artemis, Almirage,
And
Secure
Gardner.
Garden.
Yep.
So, Artemis
For easy
is
reasons.
interesting because we can convert spellcasters into her, and then have like a monster that is special for the extra deck can be useful for putting your Dogmaticus on the field, like Aiden or Ecclesia, and even stuff like Fleur de Lis as well. And Almirage is for usually Gen, because Gen has less than 1,000, so you can normal Gen, special can draw 2, discard 1. Then we can go into Almirage. And then as a bonus as well, you could go into Secure Guard now, which means it also sets
and I guess I'm a Topologic Bomber Dragon.
As a potential extension, right?
I see.
Your Ecclesia gets stopped somehow. And that's it for the deck profile, at least this one, right?
Well, I think it was a solid deck profile showing off the deck and how it works and explaining all that stuff. That's good to hear.
So
okay, the Justice will come up at some point. Thrilling. No, we deal with that when we deal with it. We still got Hot Wings next.
Right? So I'll talk to you all in the next video. Peace out.
But yeah, it's a good deck profile. He shows off what his cards are, what they do, how they can be implemented. Most of it is activate Nadir Servant or punishment. Except 5 profit. Yeah, there's a good deck there. They got out. I am tired of seeing the Albez engine, but seeing someone actually play basically pure Albez with their rituals and their monsters and stuff like that, it's like, alright, I respect that. You know? But I always respect their ritual deck. Say what you will about Droitrons, like when they were in their prime, it's like, yeah, they're probably bad for the game, but it's a ritual deck on top. I can't hate it too much. You know, give Drytrons their moment in the spot. Sorry, give Rituals their moment in the spotlight. Well, Drytrons too, I guess, but yeah. I respect that he's focusing more on the Rituals side than just being like, here's my engine. Okay, let's go. He is kind of doing that, but not to the full extent. So, I gotta give the Alien credit. They are consistent, I guess. I don't know. Respectful? That'll do, I guess. But yeah, Alan did a good job explaining this. And as a side note, this shows how far Alan's accent has come. Because I remember seeing the old Virtual World days where it's like, I can understand you, but I can also hear the accent. And this is just like, didn't really come up as much. Like, there were moments where it's like, yeah, this is in his first language. But overall, you wouldn't be able to tell. It really is impressive how far he's gone. I do kind of like those stories. Just like, see someone grow over time, I guess, would be the term, you know? I don't know. Is what I'm saying makes sense. But yeah, Alan showed off his deck, what it does, and all the impressive things he can do with it, and how it's good for scripting and stuff like that. Like the other card that it was at the end. Oh yeah, the droplets were just like, why is this here? Because they're scripted to be here. There you go. That's the best you're gonna get. And just changing around the extra deck and real time ballot stuff. Oy, buddy. Anyway, yeah, good deck profile, Alan. I'm glad I checked this thing out. It's a good deck, and hopefully, hopefully we see more of the Alien Dude in the future, but it would be best if we didn't for the world, for that sake. But, you know, if he shows up again, he'll probably be nice to see. And then he starts killing people. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going loopy, so thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Later.